Hi there, my name is Steve Gerhardt and this is the Otaku Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and watching this week's video. I always appreciate that you guys do that. So this week we're going to talk about a few different things, but one thing that we're not going to talk about the channel, but I want to tell you about a little bit so that you can go to my other YouTube channel called Unagisteve, the link will be down below, is that I found a wonderful video store. Yes, they still exist, and this one is in Baltimore City, and it rents out videos. Yes, you actually have to stand up, get outdoors, go to the thing, and go to the place, rent the videos, bring them back, watch them, and then take them back to the said store. And so it's a rare thing to talk about, and not only is it rare for that, but it's also rare because it is a cinephile's dream store. It is an amazing little store, and I'm so glad I was able to get to it today. So if you're interested in that, please check the link down below and watch the video. All right, so this week we're going to start talking about the summer shows. I know that they're already in their second and third episodes for a lot of these, but last week the three of us, John, Brett, and I, were able to do a watch with the three of us and enjoy about 27 different first brand new anime that were released for the summer of 2023. I'm not going to go through all of them. No. I'm going to talk briefly about it as a whole, and then I'm going to give you my personal handful of picks, and they are just a handful. So why don't we just get into it? So, we watched 27 first run anime. Now, we set it up, as Brent liked to put it, as a gong show style watching, which meant that Brent was able to set up on our Zoom chat a function where if we were tired of the anime that we were watching, we didn't like it, whatever, we could click a button and a hand would go up. And if all three of us put the hand up, then we would stop watching the video and wasting our time and go on to something else that was probably going to be better. And it's a really good way to save our eyesight and make sure we don't go blind in one eye by the end of all of this. So that's kind of how we did it. And we did actually have to do that about 3 or 4 times. So we didn't see all of them, but we saw most of them. So I'm not going to go through every single frickin' anime we watched. I'm just going to give you kind of the highlights, so to speak. So I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions here. One of them is Bucket List of the Dead. It's a show that has promise, I think, but the first episode, if you haven't seen it yet, you're going to spend probably, it's about 23, 24 minutes long, so you're going to spend about 19, 20 minutes of figuring out how horrible this guy's life is, because he's graduated from school and he's got this crappy job in a exploitative dark company, those companies that make you work 90 hours or more, and grind you into the dust and kill your soul. So, by the end of it, of course, we have the zombie apocalypse coming up, but that's literally in the last 4 to 5 minutes. But if you can power through it, those last 4 or 5 minutes are pretty action-packed, and I think it sets the tone for what the rest of the series is going to look like. So, yeah, I think that is a show for you. Another kind of runner-up is Dark Gathering. This is another horror anime, and it has, for me, some Higurashi vibes, and I never really liked Higurashi. It's one of the few things out there that makes me turn it off because it makes me uncomfortable, and I really don't like it for a variety of reasons. Not because it's made badly, it just does its job a little too well, and it creeps me out really easily. So it has some Higurashi vibes, and as we were watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is connected to Higurashi some way. Did the writer do it? Is the content writer? Who's connected to Higurashi that did this? Because it has such a strong Higurashi vibe. And John and Brent were just like, dude, just shut up and watch the anime. So I did watch it, and one of the character designs of the girl who has a lot of supernatural powers, can see ghosts and stuff and actually deal with them. Sort of a creepy gothly kind of little character going on, has a very strong soul eater character design. Her pupils are skulls. And so from that point, it's pretty decently animated, actually. There is dark humor. It did make me chuckle on more than one occasion, but again, I had those Higurashi vibes, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. I might come back to it and see how well it is. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because if you are a horror anime fan, or just a fan of horror as a genre, I gotta tell you, this is going to be right up your alley. So if that's your thing, if that's your jam, by all means, check Dark Gathering out. I think you're going to really, really, really like it. Okay, so let's go on to, for me, what the winners was. Go Hands Studio kind of stepped up their game, and they put out some stuff Pretty Boy Idol stuff. So the one of them, I'm going to have to go on to my notes here, and it is The Masterful Cat is Depressed. And, The Masterful Cat is Depressed again today. So the premise of this is odd, but it works. Again, Go Hands is doing stuff with CGI, and they're on the cusp of doing it really, really well. There are some interesting angle choices, artistic choices that work pretty well. It's still CGI, so there's still some stuff that are a little wonky, but you can tell that they spent the money. They took the money that they made off all the idol animes, and they put it into the show and a couple others. So basically, this woman, a woman who works in an office, she is kind of a little bit klutzy. She's a little bit, just not a bimbo, but not altogether there, if that makes sense. And she has these wonderful lunches that are made for her. And it turns out that in the first episode, we learned that when she comes home, this is not a spoiler, it's on the cover art, but when she comes home, there is a giant black cat in an apron that is basically the house cat, or version of a housewife. And so this cat, he sits there and he watches recipe shows all day, and he goes out and he gets food and stuff and makes her wonderful meals and tries to get her on track and takes care of her and all this stuff. And it's a kind of a sweet show, even if it's a little bit odd. And there's some things that I don't want to spoil for you. And you just need to watch it. It's a cute little show, and it's fun, and I can't wait to watch more of it. So let's go on to the next one. So the next one is let me get the notes up here, because it's kind of a little bit of a longish title. Undead Girl Murder Farce. So this one is really interesting. It's set in Taisho era, and the introduction to it is, this is a Taisho era anime, but it's not in the Taisho era that you know. Literally, that's what they're saying to you. This anime is based on the light novels, which is based which spawned a manga, and then which has now spawned an anime. And in this Taisho, this alternate Taisho era world, there's a person who is given the blood of an Oni and becomes a half Oni, and he does things like fights in these battles against other demons and other supernatural creatures to the death. And he does the thing, and he is not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's just walking through life, doing his gig, and he's kind of a nihilist. He kind of doesn't care if he lives or dies. He has a very interesting thought process about that and about immortality. And as he's doing this, he's very strong, he's very capable. And in this Taisho area alternate world, basically these supernatural creatures, of course, exist. Everyone knows about them. And they make a concerted effort to kill them when they step out of line. So this guy, who's considered to be a half Oni, is looked down upon not only by the human beings, but also by the other supernatural creatures, because he makes his money killing them in a ring, in where they're out to fight to the death, and the police kind of turn a blind eye to it. So it's kind of sanctioned. So this mysterious woman shows up with a flintlock, it's a flintlock, and has a bayonet on the end of it, and she's holding a birdcage with a drape over it, and she commences to fight this half oni, and the half oni is able to, beat her in a fight, and he hears a woman's voice talking to him, but it's not the person he was fighting with the firearm. And then you come to find out that inside the birdcage, when the woman with the firearm lifts up the veil, there's a head inside of a very beautiful woman, but it's just her head. Her head. And so the premise is that she is looking to die, and she is offering to help him live longer, because the Oni blood is going to eventually turn him into a full-fledged Oni, and he's going to be, of course, killed because of that. But she goes, well, I can help you out with that if you help me out by being able to kill me, but I need to get the rest of my body in order to do that. There you go, and off they go to Europe. So there's going to be some interesting symbolism. Like we talked for a long time about the symbolism of the Taishara, what these characters meant, what the plot means, and things like that. So it's a very meaty show, and and well done, and you need to watch it. It's because it's very, very interesting. So those are, like I said, it was just a really handful of anime that I really enjoyed, that I think you will want to see. But let me talk about the overall season for a moment. So this summer season is unusual for me, because usually when we watch these things and we go through 27 to 35 of these first run episodes, it's a lot of the same. We get a lot of the same kinds of things, and after a while it kind of bears down on you after a while. For example, I don't hate isekai, but I really need for the genre to kind of give up its king status position, so that we can get more interesting things like Dark Gathering, and the Masterful Cat is depressed again, and of course the Undead Girl murder farce. So but isekai has to go away in order to do that. But this time around, what was kind of interesting was that the isekai that was being presented to us, formulaic, normal, what you would run of the mill kind of stuff, more or less. But it didn't seem too obnoxious to me this time around. It was as if the anime studios kind of said, okay, let's find, even though we're going to do the same thing over and over again, let's find a way to tell the story that in a less obnoxious way. Excuse me. So because they did it in a less obnoxious way, it was gratifying, it was easier to watch, and some of them were kind of self-aware, but not in a let's force the comedy of being self-aware kind of thing, but it was palatable. So if you are still an isekai fan, you're going to enjoy it. If you're not an isekai fan, you'll be able to stand to deal with these isekais that came out. There were also a couple where they took a variation of the theme and redid it. One of them is a clone of the Villainous isekai, but it seems to me like I would actually watch this thing more than I would watch Villainous, just because it just feels like it was done better. Also, the other big thing about the takeaway of this season was that the music from most of these shows were really good. I mean, the intros, the outros, the segue music just seemed like everybody just said, you know what, let's spend money on music for our anime this year, and it works. So I think that might be part of the reason why some of the formulaic stuff is more easy to deal with, is probably because there's some new elements of music in there that makes you more interested in the anime. Also, the idea that there was more horror anime, not that there isn't horror anime in the past, but it just seems like there was more, this is bad English, more better horror anime being done. So if you're a fan of that stuff, you will be pleased with this summer season. So yeah, so we had a good watch. We did have to gong out about 3 or 4 shows, and honestly, we gonged them out not because they were bad necessarily, but because we were just like, okay, we know what's going to happen, right? Okay. Oh, it's the Temple. There's an anime called Temple. Oh wow, harem. There you go. Ecchi. That's all we need to know. So we moved on to the next thing. So anyway, so that's kind of what the summer watch was like this time around. It was easy to watch. We got some really good winners in there. The guys felt strongly about other anime that they really enjoyed, but I think the ones that I mentioned are the ones that they kind of picked up on as well. So yeah, check them out. So, like I said, my favorites: Undead Girl Murder Farce. The Masterful Cat is depressed again today. Definitely check those out. Go Hands as a studio did some more stuff like The Girl I Like is Forgot Her Glasses. Another nice little one. Honorable mention on that. Bucket List of the Dead. I think that's going to be a good series. Dark Gathering creeps me out, but you might like it. So there you go. And a whole bunch of isekai that I think it's one of those things where if you just kind of watch them and take it for what it is, and like if you happen to stop in mid-series and never come back to it again, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So anyway, so overall this was a pleasant summer watch to do. Okay, so I hope you enjoy those videos that I mentioned, and yeah, let me know what you think of them. Then let me know down below. Be nice, don't be a troll. So coming up next week is going to be a shorter video, just because I'm going to be prepping for Gen Con. Yes, I'm going to Gen Con. That will be the first weekend in August, which means I won't be putting up a video because I'll be too busy having fun playing games and stuff. So the week after Gen Con will be a video about Gen Con and my experience there. This will be my second time going. And as always, if you happen to see me or Brent or the both of us together there, please come up and say hi to us. We would love it if you would do that. All right, so that's it for this week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.